because can we go live? We didn't go live. We are live. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Welcome to the two-man front Sunday night football edition. You all know you guys are getting ready for the game. Bears, Texans coming up in a few, I don't know, matter of minutes here, about 20, 30 minutes. We'll get you guys back to the game. We also have our picks of that game before. We'll probably have our picks during the game. So, we'll probably do it that. But we are going to pretty much get right into it. Let's talk. We got some quarterback controversy. Fogg said he didn't want to talk about it, but I'm going to make him discuss the I think quarterback controversy that could be in the Longhorn State in Austin, Texas. And then our week 2 NFL takeaways, Fogg. Some crazy, kind of wild losses today. And obviously a crazy ending in there and Arrowhead. But what's new? It always ends up on, but it always somehow ends up going in favor of number 15 in the red. So let's go talk about and talk about. Oh, again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on YouTube right now. Please subscribe to our channel, Beat Easy Sports and Entertainment, and also, of course, Objectively Biased Sports. We'll talk about it again at the end. QR code is up on the right-hand corner of your screen. So go ahead and take a picture or whatever you need to do with that and subscribe to our channel. And of course, the rundown. College football week 3 review, QB controversy in Texas. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some other things on our minds of the college football weekend. Our biggest takeaways from week 2 day games, of the early games and the game that's just finished. What was our biggest takeaway, including the Thursday night game, the destroying of the Dolphins, 31-10 Bills over Dolphins. And of course, our previews, my review, and of course, Fogg's Eagles preview of Monday Night Football tomorrow against the Atlanta Falcons. But hey, Fogg, let's just jump right into it. Let's jump right into what just happened in Kansas City. I didn't get to do a banner for this because it just happened. Chiefs somehow, some way, again, Fogg, find a way to beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals in Arrowhead in a pretty controversial ending on the pass interference. What else? Which puts the Bengals or Chiefs in field goal position to win the game. Field goal by Harrison Buckner to win it. Chiefs win 26-25. What's new, Fogg? What's your immediate reaction of pretty much the game of the week?
I hate the call. As a defensive back, I hate the call.
Yeah.
Because again, that was really not a catchable pass. And I think I saw enough the last two weeks with college football and calls, that targeting calls and pass interference calls, and in the NFL where I'm just sitting back and I'm going, I am now on the side of those idiots, because they're idiots that turn around and say, oh, let's just make this touch football. I'm now leaning towards, not for the reasons they say it, but I'm leaning towards the side of, hey, let's just play two-hand touch or flag football at this point. Because if you're going to call some of these plays, in particular that play, pass interference,
yeah,
then let's remove the helmets so guys like Tua don't get knocked into the next century. Let's take the shoulder pads off because we don't want anybody breaking their collarbones.
Like that, but go ahead. We really should.
Yep. Well, we shouldn't. It's a serious because it's a serious situation for him.
Yeah.
But it fits the conversation. I'm sorry. I'm not politically correct.
I get it.
But if we're going to make this is what we're going to make calls, and it gets to a point where it's like, are we doing this because of, it's Patrick Mahomes? No, this is consistent across the league. This is consistent with what we're seeing getting called both at the college and the pro level. So I hate the fact that this is going to be, it's because he's Patrick Mahomes. Oh, no, I bet you we could find 10 calls as close as that one over the course of this weekend in games, and nobody's saying anything because this particular game was Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes, not the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to add to that because I think it was just one of those situations where Mahomes in an era or in his era, like it's been talked about the last I don't know, last since he's won a Super Bowl, right? We're in the Mahomes era, so he's got to get these calls. He's in the era where he will always get those benefit of the doubt calls. He was always going to get those pass interference 4th and 16. I don't even know how you coach that. I really don't. I don't know how you coach just honestly like the psychological like mindset of a referee with them knowing the situation they're in. like this is Patrick Mahomes. He's at home. He's the GOAT, right? So we have to give him a chance, right? Even if it ends in controversy, right? And it sucks because the Bengals were the better team in this game, in my opinion. The Bengals were the better football team. I mean, don't get me wrong, Joe Burrow turned the ball over as well. He was in this game. He fumbled it. But Mahomes had 2 interceptions, right? So, the Chiefs easily could have lost this game as well. It's just trash to me because like this could come back and bite the Bengals in the butt. They're 0-2, by the way. They're with the Ravens cellar with in the NFC, in the AFC North. And it's one of those things, man, where the Chiefs are going to be getting these calls and people just have to get used to it. I'm with you. That call didn't really bother me as much as it would have bothered me if it was like a roughing the passer call. That bothers me more because that's even more subjective. Pass interference, I saw the call. They showed it like 100 times in slow motion. Apparently, anything that Romo says goes, right? So like Romo thought it was pass interference, so there it was. I'll say I'm okay with the call because it was a bang call. I don't think they call that in the first quarter. They don't call that in the second quarter, and they don't call it in the third quarter. But they will call in the fourth quarter that benefits Mahomes. That's just what they do, man. It's just the nature of the beast when you have that kind of status in the NFL. But I'm glad it ended a pass in a roughing the passer call because that's when I would have said, "Fog." I've been saying for a long time, just put red jerseys or put flags on the quarterbacks if you can't touch them, right? But it didn't end like that. It was a pass interference. He did get there a little early, but again, I don't think they call that any other time. I really don't think they call that any other time, but it is what it is, man. Like,
which bothers me because you said it. In the first 3 quarters, they're not calling it. So there's inconsistency in the consistency in which they call this, depending on who you're playing, depending on the quarter that it's in. You're going to see this call that you wouldn't see on a regular basis if it was a second quarter with 3 minutes left in the first half and it's a 7-10 game.
Absolutely not. That's what bothers me a lot. Like you just knew the minute it was incomplete, you just knew. I was watching that game live as I was getting ready for the show, and you just knew this game was going to end on a pass interference or roughing the passer. 4th and 16. They played the right defense. I mean, my brother was texting me. He said they should have rushed Mahomes. They should have brought. And honestly, sometimes that's the case, but I feel like Mahomes would have stepped up probably and ran for 16 because he's done that before. Like I like the defense they played. I feel like it was safe, prevent defense. You play the sticks, and that's it. But it is what it is, man. It's week 2. It's not super. The loss is not a huge consequence, but it could be later down the line in the season, right? It could be, man. But we'll see. We'll get into some bad losses. This may have been a bad loss for the Bengals, but this is not the worst loss of the day. Probably the most heartbreaking loss. Not even close to the worst loss of the day. But we're going to change gears really quick. We're going to talk a little bit of college football. Right? Oh, and I put this in there because this is pretty much what happened, right? This is what we all saw. This is what we all saw of Mahomes. I threw that in there last minute because honestly, this is what's happening. Like, this is what we all saw. Like I'm sorry. I just saw the image. Shout out to AJ of 3 Man Weave. He posted this on his page. I had to steal it from him. Shout out
That's
to
funny
AJ
as
of
hell.
3 Man
Well,
Weave.
AJ's a Bengals fan,
And
so
he's a
he's
Bengals
gonna
fan.
be,
He's a
yeah, he's
Bengals
gonna be
fan.
salty no matter what.
Yeah. He's a Bengals fan, so there's that as well, right? So, but let's shift gears real quick. We got some college football topics to talk about, right? Week 3 of college football, man. Fog, these are just 3 of the biggest topics that I felt like were noteworthy of talking about. You can choose what you want to choose, but I know what I'm going to choose. I don't know. I think I know what you're going to choose, maybe. But what stood out to you week 3 of the college football of season?
Travis Hunter is the best player
Man.
coming out of this draft. I say this to say he's being coached by a player that played both in the NFL, could have played both ways in the NFL,
And he kind of did.
and he played baseball.
Oh, I forgot it.
Travis Hunter is that athlete.
Yeah.
But he's not playing 2 sports. He's
Yeah.
playing 2 positions. I'm going to tell you right now, Travis Hunter would be a second or third round pick as a cornerback and is easily a first round pick as a wide receiver.
Mm.
That's how talented this man is. If he is not your top 5 pick, again, we got to see who winds up in that top 5 and their positions of need. But if you're falling in the top 5, you need a corner and a wide receiver probably. And this is your guy. Travis Hunter is incredible. Watching him play, I can say this. Deion, once Hunter is gone, Deion's done in Colorado after another year. It's over. It's done. 2026, Deion, Colorado will have a new coach in 2026.
I'm not arguing that. I would even say he might leave next year. Next year, I think next year might be his year, depending on what jobs are open. Because and depending on how
kid's incredible.
Yeah, I made a post about him earlier today. He's the best player in college football. There's no question about it. He may be one of those situations where he may be the best player to not win the Heisman, one of the best ever. Because if anywhere else, he would definitely be running away with it. The way he is just playing, right? It's incredible how he's able to do both. And so, in my opinion, at an elite level, I understand that people. Yes, I do agree he's a better wide receiver than he is DB, but he's a really, really great DB. I think he would start on a lot of Power 5 teams as a DB, like as a cornerback, right? Like I really do. I think he would start, and obviously he would start on a lot of Power 5 as a wide receiver. He's definitely the best player in college football. He's so fun to watch. At the selfishness, I wish they would put him at kick returner or punt returner, but I understand he can't do everything, right? So they obviously can't do that. But I love the fact I was listening to the game on Saturday. I love the fact that they give him 3 days off, so he barely practices.
Yes,
and he's still playing at this type of high level on both sides of the football. So like it's an incredible feat. My biggest story though is the story that literally just came out like 2 hours ago. And it's Quinn Ewers likely being out for at least the UM Monroe game, and I think if they're smart, they'll send him out for the Mississippi State game as well on September 28th, and then we'll see. And then they have a bye week, and then they have the Red River Shootout with Oklahoma on October 12th, and we'll see. Look, I'm facetiously saying quarterback controversy, but look, man, I think Arch Manning is going to show what obviously he can do these next 2 weeks, because they're going to sit him out. They're going to sit Quinn out. Quinn's obviously going to be the starter. They're going to sit him out. But I'm telling you right now, Fog, let Quinn Ewers throw some interceptions. I'm telling you right now, if Arch Manning plays the way I think he's going to play these next 2 games, because I think they're going to sit Quinn out. I do. I think they're going to send him out for at least 2 weeks. And then they have the bye week. So we're not going to see him for 3 weeks. Let Arch Manning play the way I think he's gonna play, and then they bring back Ewers or Quinn Ewers, I'm not saying he's gonna be on like a shortest of leashes, but man, look, rumbles get loud in Texas, man. Okay, the number are they number 1, 2, number 1 right now? They're number 1, right? The number 1.
I don't know. No, we won't know till Monday or Tuesday, but I know that they were number 2. Georgia was number 1, and even though Georgia had a epic scare, I still think because Georgia won, they're the defending champs. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Nope.
They'll still be number 1.
Well, I just looked it up. Texas is the new number 1 in the AP poll. They're number 1 in the AP poll. But look, there's no quarterback controversy. I'm being a little facetious. There's not. Quinn Ewers is the starter. Manning's going to play well. I think the Mississippi State game against an SEC team at least is going to show what he can really do. Are both games one game? I think both games are at home in Texas, so he's going to be at home. So yeah, I do think that I do believe that that Ewers is going to be the starter. But one thing I was going to say is abdominal strains are nothing to mess with.
No,
like they hurt. So I think he's going to come back 100%. But man, like thankfully he's going to have these 3 weeks off. They're not. That's your core, man. They're nothing to mess with. So we'll see what happens. That's just something to keep an eye on. Is all I'm saying. Is something to keep an eye on. That's it.
I'm saying this. What I saw from Arch was he's far more athletic than I gave him credit for, and he is far more athletic of a player at the quarterback position than Ewers is. Ewers is still a better quarterback, but I can tell you right now, if I had the choice, if they were both coming out this year, I'm taking Manning over Ewers.
100%.
And it's not even close.
Not even close, yeah.
I see the potential in this young man.
No, I completely agree. I agree. I'm taking Ewers over Manning, but I'm sorry, Manning over Ewers when it comes to that, the potential, the ceiling, right? The ceiling. Right?
The ceiling is far higher than what it is with Ewers.
Like Ewers, to me, is Ewers even a first-round pick in this year's draft? Is he going in the first round?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I personally don't. He probably will be, but I don't think he will. I don't think Beck is a first-round pick.
I don't either.
But that's the conversation we can have when we discuss college football.
Yeah, I don't either. And then, I didn't want to discuss this really. Florida State is ass. Like, there's really not much else to say. But I have not watched a Florida State game this year. I must add, I have not watched a Florida State game because, well, actually, that's a lie. I did watch the Georgia Tech game, but that was an omen to what I felt like this year was going to be, and I was right. We're going to be bad. We're not making a bowl game. I think we maybe win 3 games, possibly. I mean, this is one of the biggest falls in college football history. Going 13-0 and then starting the year 0-3.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. Like, it's just really bad.
It's crazy is they look so bad. Like, I know, like, you get your rankings based off what you did the previous season. I understand that Michigan was ranked where they were at. I don't think Michigan makes the playoff, to be honest with you. But I'm watching Florida State. I'm like, damn, Florida State might not even be a top 50 team by the end of the season.
They're not going to make a bowl game. Like, I think Michigan's going to get a bowl game. They're going to win 6 games. I think
maybe. I'm just saying. Michigan ain't looked that hot either. Let's be honest.
They haven't, but Florida State has looked inept. And look, I'm not saying we're calling for Mike Norvell's job, but I feel like there's ways and situations where things can be so bad that I don't know if do you have a choice but not to fire him? And like this is bad, man. This is what happens when you pick the wrong quarterback in the portal. This is what happens. This is the risk of the portal, man. When you pick the wrong dudes in the portal, man, I tell you, it's
when college free agency goes bad.
Yeah, pretty much. This is it. This is it. This is a prime example. I mean, DJ was one of the most sought out guys, and a lot of teams missed the bullet.
Yeah,
a
big
lot of
time.
teams missed the bullet because this guy is just he peaked so early. I feel so bad for it. It's funny that we just played his team this past yesterday, St.
Yeah.
John Bosco, and the way people were talking about him still about how great he was at St. John Bosco. He just peaked so early, but man, I don't know. I don't know if you can bench him because of all this NIL stuff. I don't even know. But let's go ahead and move on to today. Wild week.
Shit.
Wild week.
Wild 2 weeks.
Wild 2 weeks, really. In the NFL, especially those early day games, man. Those early day games. Fog, your immediate reaction of the day games. Obviously, we know the Chiefs edge out the Bengals. The question I really had was, who had the worst loss? The Ravens, Cowboys, or Niners?
Okay, so let me go with your first question. Immediate reaction.
Yep.
I'm making more money betting on college football than I am the NFL so far in these first 2 weeks. and I want to send out we have to hashtag the Miami Hurricanes because they were part of an over in a parlay that I had. And I think the spread was 55.5. Miami carried that spread. They won 62-0 against Ball State. Ball State, thank you for contributing not a goddamn thing. Nobody go to that university. They suck. At least put up 7.3 points. Shit, do something. Miami carried that over completely. So thank you to the U.
Goodness gracious.
But now, second question, it's the Cowboys. Cowboys look fantastic against a Cleveland Browns team that was missing offensive linemen, missing Nick Chubb. Clearly, they did not look like they were on the same page offensively. And though they beat Jacksonville, again, it's Jacksonville. Jacksonville sucks. I don't know why people are picking them to win that division or even be a potential playoff team. But we saw two different Dallas Cowboy teams, and the Saints are not as good as advertised. Let me say this. They're 2-0, but that offense, the defense is good. The offense is nowhere near as potent as what we're seeing right now. But what we're seeing with Dallas is that Dallas is inconsistent. And that inconsistency with their inability to stop the run, with their inability to run the ball, again, with an aged running back core. And the fact that, look, Dak Prescott, while I've said it before, he's a top 10 quarterback. Statistically, he's going to have his games or he's going to have his peaks and his valleys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when he hits his valleys, it's going to be ugly. This Cowboys team is just that. They hit peaks and valleys. And right now, this is a Cowboys team. I picked them to make the playoffs, B, on not only on our show, but Game Winning Drive. But I also said they're not winning the division this year. This is not a division winning team. This is a team that's going to sneak into the playoffs because of how weak the NFC actually is. But Dallas has got to be the worst loss because Derek Carr smoked you. And you got owned. You got owned by Derek Carr. Got dumped by the Raiders. The Raiders said, "Yo, we don't even want this guy anymore." And he came and smoked you.
Yeah,
not good.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought we would be on the same page with this. I'm going Baltimore. I'm going Baltimore as the worst loss because, well, okay. So here's the thing. I was gonna go Dallas because both these teams lost at home. 44-17 or 19 is insane. That's just a meltdown at home. Like usually Dallas is pretty good at home. That's usually a game that's usually an egg they lay on the road. But Baltimore going to 0-2 against a Raiders team led by Gardner Minshew. I must add, get this stat, get this one. Gardner Minshew, as far as I'm concerned, because I don't know how many times him and Lamar Jackson have played. Gardner Minshew was 2-0 against Lamar Jackson because last year, the game I was actually at, when he was playing for Indianapolis, he won in Baltimore. So whatever reason, Gardner Minshew has Lamar Jackson's number. I don't know what that means. Probably means nothing. It's just something I wanted to know. But I will say that I think that's the worst loss, Fog. It's not as bad to me as anymore because the Bengals lost. Had the Bengals beat the Chiefs, the Ravens would have been 0-2 by themselves in the NFC North or AFC North. They would have been in the dweller by themselves. Now they're sharing that with the Bengals, but the Steelers are now my team 2-0, right? And then obviously the Browns are 1-1. I think the Ravens are going to come back from this, and ironically, they play the Cowboys in Dallas next week, which is not easy. Even though the Saints made it look easy, it's not easy. I think the Ravens have the worst loss because they're 0-2, and they lost to the Raiders, a team that I felt like was going to win maybe 4 games this year. Like I didn't think the Raiders were going to win it. This is probably the best win the Raiders have had in a long time. For them to come all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast to play a early game.
Because 1:00 games for West Coast teams, they normally don't cover the spread, let alone win.
Fog, their body clocks are 10 o'clock. Like that, that's the crazy part. Like their body clocks are at 10. So like 10 a.m. by the way. And I think that was a bad. I think I really thought the Ravens, after the way they lost Thursday night, they had 10 days off.
Yeah.
Right. I thought they were going to destroy the Raiders. When I saw how close this game was, I was like, wow, something must be up. And obviously it's that offensive line, and defensively, they're not very good. They're just not very good defensively this year. The Ravens. I mean, they're good. And this doesn't really bode well for Lamar Jackson's style of play. So it could be a rocky year for Lamar, or it could be a year where he just turns into Superman and wins another MVP. But 0-2 to start the season, not a good look for the Baltimore Ravens. And now you're 2
I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked, B, because I said the Ravens, I don't like how that defense looks. I don't know what that offensive line is going to look like.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked. That's why I went with Dallas, because Dallas, I think, can be a contender in that NFC. And you just got mopped up by a team, in my opinion, the Saints. If they make the playoffs, they're going to make it with a 9-8 or an 8-9 record in that division.
Man. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could be. It could very well be. You're right about that. It could very well be. Man, I don't know. I'm not really sure, but let's see. Hey, folks, so looking at the games right here, any teams that are surprising to you about their start? Any team? Vikings 2-0, Bills 2-0, Seahawks, I believe, are 2-0. Chargers are 2-0. Browns are 1-1. Bucks are 2-0. Jets are 1-1. That was a squeaker. That was kind of scary, right? The Cardinals I believe the Cardinals are 1-1, but they had destroyed the LA Rams. Obviously the Chiefs are 2-0. Bengals are 0-2. We're 2-0. I'll get to us in a minute. Any surprises, teams, Fog, that are either 0-2 or 2-0?
The surprise for me is going to be the Vikings. I picked them to be last, and when I looked at that, it was funny. I watched what the hell was it? Colin Cowherd, and he was given his hierarchy of the top 10 teams in the NFL coming into the season. And he had the Vikings, I think, at like 10 or 9. And I was like, all right, this is typical Colin bullshit. But then I went back and I looked at the team, and I'm like, wow, outside of the quarterback, they actually have
They got
solid players
They do. Yeah.
on both sides of the ball. Like the
Yeah.
Vikings might actually be a very good and competitive team. And based on how Darnold performs, the Minnesota Vikings could fuck around and win that division if Green Bay slips up.
No, they could. No, they could. They could. No. Well. If the Lions slip up, what's the Lions record? Are the Lions 1-1? They won. Yeah, they won last week. They won.
Yeah, they're 1-1.
They're 1-1. Yeah, Lions.
But again, I don't trust them because their defense still sucks.
Still stinks, man. Jeez, it's bad. But when Baker Mayfield's dotting you, it's bad. Okay, your defense is pretty freaking bad, man. No, I agree. The Vikings were a team that I was gonna say was the biggest surprise so far. Man, biggest surprise so far, team wise to me.
Houston, Chicago, 3-3.
Yeah, I see that. I see that result right now. I'm gonna say I think I'm gonna say the biggest surprise to me so far, and it's a team that's 0-2. We just talked about them. It's Baltimore. They're just I'm surprised they're 0-2. I thought there would be at least 1-1. Like I'm surprised. This is a big hole. And honestly, I'm not saying their season next week's season is going to ride on the rest of the year, but man, they start 0-3. I don't know what changes you can make, but I think their season's probably almost going to be over. Especially if we keep winning and the Browns win and the Bengals win, and they keep seeing themselves going down and down. 0-3 for that team would be shocking. It would be really, really, really shocking to me if they go 0-3. But yeah, the Vikings, Sam Darnold. Hey, look, he was part of that 2018 draft. Everybody wrote him off. He went to the Jets, the Panthers, the Niners. All he needed was Justin Jefferson. That was the missing link for Sam Darnold's career, apparently. And there you go. There you go. So hey, look, he looks good. He looks pretty good. He looks comfortable. He looks pretty comfortable back there, man. I'm always rooting for the guy. I'm rooting for the dude. I am, but we'll see what he can do as the season continues. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take this real quick because I know I want to get to your team and we can say the Sunday night picks. The game has started. Look, man, I'm not as enthused as I was last week. And we didn't even score last week. We didn't even score a touchdown last week. We scored a touchdown this week, and I'm still not enthused. Last week we had 8 field goals or some crazy number. I don't even know what it was. But 5 field goals, was it? I don't know. I can't do math. 6 field goals. We had 18 points, so 6 field goals by Chris Boswell. We scored this week. We came out. Justin Fields came out pretty hot. He was looking good, and that was it. And it was just game managing Justin. It was just the defense saving the day, man. I just these 13-6 wins and this. I'll say this. This was kind of. I don't want to say. I'm not comparing Justin Fields and Kenny Pickett. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. But this is the kind of game Kenny Pickett won. No, these are the games he won. He relied on the defense, and the defense bailed us out again. And Justin Fields, he's just, I just need the reins to be taken off him a little more. The playbook needs to be opened up a little more by Arthur Johnson. It just needs to be Najee Harris, go over his number. I guess the overall that we had over 251 yards of total offense, only 110 yards passing, but 141 yards on the ground, which is great. 4.3 yards a carry. And we had the first downs. The third down efficiency was okay. A lot of punts, man. We held the ball. It's just, do we win this game? I don't know who we play next. I'm not for sure who we play next, but do we win this game against a tougher team? No. But 2-0 is 2-0. I'm glad we're not. I'm glad we're giving ourselves some cushion to be 2-0. But I'm not gonna lie to you, Fug. Actually, I got that score wrong. 13-10 or 13-6. I not the most enthused by my team.
Well, think about it this way. Eagles were what, 10-0 last year? Started out 10-0, and I said,
Yeah.
this is not a 10-0 team. I don't know what everyone else is cheering about as Eagles fans, but these guys are not what their record is indicating. And the good thing about where the Steelers are, they're 2-0. The Browns are 1-1, and the Browns played Jekyll and Hyde. And the two best teams in that division are both 0-2.
Which is crazy. Which is insane. Like the division is literally upside down right now.
It is, but if, in all honesty, I trust Tomlin. I trust what he can do. And so I'd have more faith in Tomlin and Pittsburgh right now than I would in Watson and Cleveland, even though I've said this before, on paper, the Browns are the best team in that division.
Well, if Deshaun Watson gets to finish the season, because he's got some more issues coming his way, apparently. And did you see the report where they pretty much took away a clause to where if he gets suspended again, which is interesting because the Browns must know something that we don't know. But if he gets suspended again, that they can pretty much rescind his guaranteed money, which I found when I saw that story very interesting because the Browns must know something that we do not know. So I'm interested in seeing what's going on there.
I don't think it's a matter of Cleveland knows something as much as it is, hey, we're going to put this clause in here just in case some other shit comes out. And Watson and his camp were like, fuck it, we're fine. Give us the money. There's nothing else coming out. Look, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I honestly believe Watson went overboard with certain things he did with these massages. But I think there was a lot of people that were complicit with it that are now coming out and saying, oh, no. And what was it? 23, 24 women came out and nothing stuck.
He settled 22 out of 23. So I'm not sure what happened to the other one. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
And again, a settlement doesn't necessarily mean he was innocent.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean he was guilty. It just means that that's what the attorney said. Hey, listen, you've got this. Just settle. Get them off your back. Let's not make this anymore. I think people forget. People look at things in a certain way, a certain microscope, and it's like, oh, he settled. Yeah, no. Sometimes the best thing to do is just settle to make shit go away, because you don't want to have to deal or have to continue to pump money into something that at the end of the day, the end result is going to be the same.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not absolving Watson from blame or fault or saying he didn't do anything wrong. Because have 23 or 24 people come out against you.
Yeah.
You had to do something.
Something happened. Like that's kind of wild. Yeah. And then another one.
But yeah, I think Cleveland's mindset from a businessman aspect, I would have probably put the same clause in there and say, hey, listen, if something else pops up, we can rescind that guaranteed money. Now I'd like to find out, I don't know, if rescinding that guaranteed money means that what he's collected already is his, but everything else you're not getting. So that's I would,
I guess that's a good point.
Because you're not going to pay back the money. You're not signing a contract that's going to require you to pay back. I don't give a shit if you were hella innocent. You told me that. I'm like, I'm innocent, but you're not going to sit here. No, I'm not signing the contract that says I have to pay back the money. So I'd be interested to find out if he's rescinding what is left on the guaranteed money.
That's what I would think. I would think it's that in terms of just what's left on the game.
And if that's the case, that's why it was top heavy at the front end, because the back
Yeah.
end of this contract is not that heavy at all. And
No.
Cleveland can actually make moves financially to bring other players in.
Yeah. And if they need to move him.
Yes.
Which I don't know, man. Deshaun Watson is just an enigma. I don't know, but real quick, Fog, any words or any words you want to give of a preview of your Monday night game tomorrow? Eagles, Falcons. And who you got? Well, I guess obviously who you got, but
well, I'm taking Philly.
Yeah.
What's going to be interesting to see is AJ Brown is out. He's been declared out. So I want to see what Devonta Smith does as the number one.
Yeah.
But I want to see also, again, I picked Atlanta to win that division. I want to see how they bounce back from that ugly loss last week.
You know, is this at Philly or or Atlanta?
I think it's in Philly, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, I'll bring it up real quick.
The NFL, we all know it's a what have you done for me lately league. It's a league that fans can get very, very jittery. And look, they drafted Michael Penix Jr. for a reason. I'm not saying if Kirk Cousins goes out there and lays an egg that they're going to pull the plug on him in week 3. But man, I do think if they lose this game and they don't show to be competitive and they can't move the ball and Kirk Cousins shows his age or whatever it may be, I will say that at least he'll get shorter and shorter. And you're going to hear some runs. I think fans
it is in Philly.
And it's in Philly. So
yes.
I do think that Atlanta. I think I'm going to be looking more towards. I got Philly winning this game. I think Philly's the better team, but it's in Philly too. I never really like Atlanta on the road, but I will say that look, if the Falcons lose this game, but Kirk Cousins isn't the reason why they lose, or the game is close and he played well, and let's say the Eagles, the ball just bounces their way, then yeah, I think he's going to be fine. But if they lose this game and he is looking bad and old and he's throwing interceptions and he's not accurate, I'm not saying they're going to pull him from that game, but the conversation is going to be started about whether or not they should start Penix Jr. earlier rather than later. Like that's just that's just a reality, right? Like maybe they give it a couple more weeks. I don't know. You go 0-2, you start talking, and then you drafted this guy. You drafted this guy in the first round in the 8th pick, top 10 pick. Like you don't quarterbacks don't sit anymore, right? They just don't. They don't sit anymore. So. Yeah, I got the Eagles winning this game, but that's what I'm going to be looking for when I watch that game. See how Kirk Cousins plays, because if he doesn't play well, if he plays the same way he played last week against the Steelers, against us, yeah, the rumblings will start. I know the game's already started, Fog, but let's get our picks in. Who you got tonight? Bears, Texans.
Oh, easy. Texans.
Yeah, I got Texans as well, especially at home. First home game with these new weapons. But defensively, the Bears look pretty good. The Bears look.
I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I do too. I think Caleb Williams. I'm gonna hit my parlay. He's got to throw for 100 today. I may not make much.
My parlay has DJ Moore catching a touchdown pass and going for over 54.5 yards, and it's got Nico Collins catching a touchdown with the Texans winning.
Hey, look, Caleb's 5 for 5 for 55 yards. So he's halfway there. He's efficient. He's efficient right now. So there you go.
Right now. Right now. It's only the start of the second quarter. And Nico just scored a touchdown.
Oh, man.
Yes.
So what, 10-3?
Yeah.
That'll be 10-3 soon. All right. Well, that game. Well, I think we both got the Texans in this. Texans in this game.
Yeah.
To this game. But that will obviously do it for us, folks. Thank you so much for everyone who joined in tonight. Appreciate it. Again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our pages, BZ Sports, with me, BZ Sports, and then obviously Objectively Biased Sports with the Fog. Got great content all week. We're going to do this every single Sunday, same time, between 5 and 5:30. Join us for immediate reaction of the Thursday night football game and, of course, the day games. And we'll pick the games on Sunday night and Monday night as well for your deal. And also college football review. Wild week 2, almost in the books. But the Sunday's in the books, man. And can't wait to do this game with you. Can't wait to do this again with you next week, Falk.
Yes, sir.
All right. That will do it for us. Appreciate everybody who watched online on YouTube and all the other pages that we tagged in on. And we'll see you guys next week. Same place, same time here on the Two Man Front.